What do you make of like where hip hop is now? Particularly, I'm speaking particularly about Cape Town. The dominant form is you're gonna hear drill. Like, what do you make? What do both? I mean, what this moment represents with hip hop in South Africa, particularly in Cape Town?
If I could just quickly take one word that I'll use is power or powerful, right? But they also say ultimately power corrupts, right? And I think the fact that it gets millions of views now corrupted the idea that this is what we need to do. Does it make sense?
Mm-hmm.
If I now just break it down quickly without being too deep. But that's what it is, because we're now buying into an algorithm, we're buying into likes, we're buying into all these value systems that actually have no value. But it's great to have likes. Because I mean, I would also love to have a fancy car like all and most hip hoppers have tried to achieve also, because we want to do better, right? Because we also know that hip hop first and foremost came out of poverty, right? So we had this was the way out. Same as it was what Killer Priest used to say: dream of a scholarship ended by a hollow tip. It goes life, difficult times, and mad crimes. Some pay the price, but blessed are those who struggle. God loves you, and wisdom is a principal thing for kings and queens. Blah, 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 blah. So I also used to tap into that. So the conversation of Killer Priest was really one of emceeing, but also talking about the isms of life, but being philosophical about it, right? But then you have someone like Lost Emperor, who Adrian referred to now, which I used to love, still love actually, because he showcased that you could have emceeing on another level without using any curse words as well. And the irony was that particular album, it was The Legend of Bigfoot, I think, and it was on Aftermath. He was signed to Dr. Dre during that period. So now the thing about it is we also know Rakim was signed to Dr. Dre. We know Busta Rhymes was signed to Dr. Dre. Who else? Blue. There was also some famous people signed to Dr. Dre who never made it because Dre also expected a certain formula. There's always been a formula. But also what I think made Tupac's formula great because he could touch on so many things. He can say, girls, shake it, but also be aware where you shake it. But by the way, if you, and by the way, to my black brothers, keep your head up. Powers in politics, and it's the people that we address, you know? So there's always been a lot of varying things happening, but the irony with globalization and the unification of things on platforms have now made it more focused on what doesn't matter. Of course, there's a guy like, say, for instance, Yugi. He's maybe from Beaufort West or somewhere in the Noord-Kaap. He was very dope, right? And it was positive rap music, but it was also feel good because you could feel the energy. And the unfortunate thing with what's happening in Cape Town with drill music, it has now attached that negative energy to it. Even when I walk in, I might be somewhere out in Amsterdam, I'll see kids with pants sagging. I did it too. But they've got headphones in and they just walk like this. Grrr, grrr, with headphones in, like in public, it's just full on aggression. It's like really aggressive. It's a vibration, man. You know? So now we're asking, are we being like orchestrated? Are we living in a simulation? Because is this now what is being pushed as hip hop or is it pushed as rap music? Because now we're confused with the culture, the
No, I
subculture,
got you.
the way of consciousness, the movement versus just the music. Same thing with Young Thug, keeping it real, but now we know he's the real snitch as well. You know what I'm saying?
No, I got you, Lee. I got you. Adrian, do you have the same feelings on drill, or I mean, I like Lee's setup.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think hip hop is also at that moment now where there's enough of that intergenerational tension for like the older heads to be like, the young heads, what are they doing? What is this little thing? I mean, I'm really fascinated by like the video, the aesthetic communication and the videos. It's like, what is happening here? Um, what I'm only like I become really concerned in my own capacity as Adrian, and this is like I like the ideas around it, and I'm always listening for like again what is the poetry of it and what is like the poetics of articulating environment and landscape. There's also a very there's a recurring pattern in South Africa, and particularly with gang culture from the Cape, that there's this romanticization of it, the romanticizing of the violence that has our communities under terror, which has happened within films. And we've now gotten to a moment where people are making different types of films and saying we're not going to make gang films anymore, because of the knock-on effect and the influence that that has had on our communities. So I'm always just concerned when we can't differentiate that this is behind a mic and it's like, yeah, it's like keeping it real. He always says this thing, when keeping it real goes real wrong, you know, and like that keeping it real kind of perpetuates just like sometimes just stupidity and things that and like perpetuates terror and perpetuates like the loss of life. I mean, these cats have like millions of views right now, and it's crazy. It's like I've never thought I would see it on this level, right? And I am always intrigued by like the sonic and like what is the sonic doing in connection with the poetics and that overlaying, and then you have the visual aesthetic, and it's like really like it's really innovative from young people. I just always want to catch myself from being like, these kids don't know what they're doing, you know, and these kids, because I do think they know what they're doing. And I do think we also had the privilege of growing up with hip hop that also allowed us to have this, I don't know, like, and this is something I'm throwing out there for us to talk about, but, you know, like older generations, they would look at hip hop and not necessarily understand that this is also an articulation of something from nothing. This is also an articulation of a form of struggle. This is an articulation of, I will breathe in an environment that doesn't want me to breathe. And we have that benefit of understanding the plight of young people making drill music, where hip hop becomes this bridge between generations. You know, we have that benefit of having grown up with hip hop and having it be this bridge between generations. And so I'm fascinated, man. I'm really like, I never thought it would be like this. Like, it's crazy that these cats get like 500,000 views in a week. What? We were making videos with like cameras that we were lending. And I mean, I made a video for SIP, and it was like, that was a big deal to make this video with like a camera we lent from my friend's father. When we got to 1,000 views, we were like, now these cats are like pushing 1 million views, 2 million views. It's just that conversation of like, we got to remain critical about what is also being perpetuated. And yeah, there's that side, there's the drill side, but what is the counter to that? What is the platform of consciousness that is happening, that is challenging that thing that is being romanticized?